Now, our next speaker is Joe White. He's the Superintendent District Officer for the Darling Downs District of the Queensland Police. Joe will enlighten us on the topic promoting social trust through partnerships. Before he steps up, does everyone have their working headsets? Because there are staff members around that can help you if you've got a trouble one or something. Okay, all good? Terrific, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Joe White.
Well, firstly, thank you to Pure Land Learning College for the invite. I think it's quite a novel invite in respect to having a police officer come to a peace forum, and we don't usually get to address a diverse crowd that we have here today. In particular, in my time, I haven't had the good fortune to address people that are interested in a common cause, and peace in the community is certainly number one in the police eyes in Toowoomba and in the state. And thank you to Hanif for the invite too. Pure Land Learning College in Toowoomba, let me start with this, that is an exceptional college. It's never advertised, and it is known to me in various forms of how they assist the Toowoomba community and the absolute input they have from a personal perspective, supporting members of the Toowoomba community, and the amount of financial assistance they do supply to very, very worthy causes, which enhances the safety of the Toowoomba community and also advertises and promotes Toowoomba as a peaceful place for people to live. Let me give you a bit of background about policing. The Toowoomba district, or what you would have read in the press recently, there's a restructure. Now the Toowoomba district is now the Darling Downs Police District, which incorporates Warwick, goes out to the border, right through to Gundawindi, down to Ladley, out past Crow's Nest, and further out towards Dalby. It consists of 400 police officers and 79 staff members, and we cater and are sworn to protect a population of 230,000 people within this district. Located in the district is 27 police stations, 7 police beats, 2 very important in my eyes, police youth citizens clubs, and 16 specialist units, and by that I mean investigative units, child protection units, prosecution, those sort of specialist scenes of crime. Now, our purpose for policing in the Darling Downs is to provide, our aim is to provide a quality response and build relationships across the community to stop crime, reduce antisocial behaviour, and very importantly, number one for this community at the moment, is to reduce road trauma. Subsequently, one of the key priorities, 5 key priorities set for the district, is building relationships across the community, as I said. And I see these activities that include building safer community partnerships, engaging key stakeholders from all tiers of government, in particular local government, fostering positive media consultation, and forming partnerships with key stakeholders in this community. And by that I mean chambers of commerce, schools, Police Citizens Youth Club, we work through them, Toowoomba Safer Regional Partnerships, working with Pure Land Learning, the college, which we've had a successful partnership in the past in respect to developing a statewide advertisement that was put into schools that addressed the issue of road trauma. Police and the community leaders need to continually engage with each other and work together. Without that, policing will not produce and not achieve our goals. So from the point of view that generally the public, the perception, I believe, of police is that police are there to enforce the law. Well, police have got a greater role than just enforcing the law. It is part of the police under my auspice to enforce the law, but the greater role is to develop partnerships with the community and bring the community forward as leaders to assist us in solving crime, preventing, dampening antisocial behaviour and reducing road trauma. We need the backing of the community. The community needs to take a lead role. So, social trust and successful partnerships, in my view, go hand in hand. If you look at the word trust in the context of our local society here in Toowoomba, I'd suggest that the elements of confidence, expectation, motivation, cooperation, collaboration and mutual obligations exist in that word. Through the development of trust, I do firmly believe that we have built some significant partnerships in the community from a policing perspective and engaging the community. And as I said, I've alluded to the good work of our association and the lead that the Pure Land Learning College has taken in respect to some social aspects of this community which we've addressed successfully. We also have a community cross-cultural liaison officer who's an ex-English bobby, English police officer, Alex Singleton, who does wonderful work with minority groups in this community and addresses numerous cultural issues. He's an outstanding police officer. And he, in my view, and what I've heard, is he's well respected amongst the multicultural groups within our community. I see that as very important. We also have volunteers in policing that back up the police, that are members of the community who volunteer their time to address different issues that we've identified. In particular, there's some issues we're doing with substance abuse and getting into the schools now to promote a program in collaboration with Child Safety. It's a You Choose program where we address going and give lectures to youth, which is what I believe is important, and that's where we should start. So, also the Police Citizen Youth Club in this area is quite outstanding. Camp Chris, which a lot of people would know, is an outstanding. If you said Camp Chris to this group here, they wouldn't say police officer. I suggest you wouldn't say police officer, you'd say what an outstanding community member. And the programs he drives for the Indigenous youth, Indigenous sport, the esteem, building esteem of our youth that don't have opportunities through the Rock and Water program. The funding that he attracts to this community to look after our youth is substantial, and he's an excellent member of the community and an excellent police officer too. So they're some of the issues that I see that we do well in partnership. We can do better. I think the community can do better. In saying that, Toowoomba has got a good feel about it, so to speak. I think Toowoomba is probably one of the best communities I've ever been in Queensland. I'll go back. It is the best community I've been served in Queensland, and I make no bones about it. And having been throughout Queensland, this has a good feel about it too. Sure, we've got crime, we've got antisocial behaviour, we've got drugs, we've got the normal things that every community's got, but I just think that the population, the decent people in this community is 99.9%. It's really high. We've got a few issues with people that commit crimes, but that's a minority, a very, very minor group. The education in this community, the way we look after our youth across the board generally in this community is outstanding from what I've seen in other centres. So we should be proud of our community. But part of maintaining our community is to form partnerships, and that's through promoting social trust. We must remember that the community in Toowoomba is, well, I can't say stay, but it is a very straight community, so to speak, with good ideals. And it's a country, city community where there's been staunch family ideals promoted through numerous eras of, if you like. But what we've got to understand that in the changing world, that we've got to make sure that we don't establish and view everybody by the developed norms that we have for the standard community in Toowoomba. Hopefully I'm explaining myself properly. The community must remember that our norms are not the norms of other people, in particular some of our minority groups. And the inbuilt long associations within our normal community tend to make us insular and exclusive to other minorities. And that's not a bad thing, but it's a thing we must recognise, and we tend to have our own views, excluding the views of the minorities generally when we go forward. Thus we tend to bond well within our accepted group, who have the accepted norms. But our ability as a whole community to increase our external ties, and we should be bridging the gap, so to speak, with the minority cultures that exist within Toowoomba. And that increases the likelihood of building a common good. Strange that a police officer can sit here and say that sort of stuff, but it does work. And we don't have to, certain things the minority communities bring with them, they have to be giving to and have to accept our norms, or the basic norms that we've got in the community, but we have to bend over that way and accept their norms. And that'll promote the social trust aspect of it in a wider form. That's my view. And you see in partnership, if you go into the, if we go academically a little bit, there's an arrangement in which parties agree to cooperate to advance their mutual interests. So this is what I said before, the community has got to take a lead in promoting the social trust and promoting the safer place. I think the norm, if you like, as I alluded to before, in our standard community, in the majority, is that's the police job to make the place safe. Well, it's not. And it's becoming more apparent that the police by themselves will not make the place safe. That's the basic word. Police in cooperation and led by the community will make a place safe. And unfortunately the hard-hitting fact is that the ownership of crime, social misconduct if you like, road trauma, that ownership is with the community. And the police, as I see it, is a tool, the major tool or the lead tool in solving or reducing those social aspects. To get on to, so that's what we need to take, and that's going to be a hard ask for a community that in Australian views the police have been the leaders in communities, in particular country centres. They're seen as the leaders, and they are, but we need the other leaders to be seen with the police leaders and to be seen to be heading in one direction. Fiscally, in the current fiscal environment, government agencies are really trying hard, in my view, and the leaders of these government agencies and non-government agencies are trying very hard, in particular the Toowoomba community. But what we've got to remember, that the money is not as apparent as we would like it to be, and local government is going to have to foster and shoulder a lot of the social agency work, and that's where some of the finances will come in the future, I suggest. The non-government agencies, non-government organisations, unless they're structurally sound, and this is not a police view, this is my view from working with the community, will suffer. And I think that we've got to look to promote social trust through partnerships with the community. The non-government agencies need to look at how they can amalgamate and work in one direction. Part of my session here today is I won't rabbit on, so to speak, or keep talking. My preference when speaking to a group is to engage them, and that is to take some questions and answers. And this theatre is quite strong enough for me to hear your voice. So before I go there, road trauma for Toowoomba and the Darling Downs district is number one on my menu, so to speak. Crime is always there and drugs are always there, and we will do our best to wipe out crime and drugs. Drugs has no place in any community, full stop. It's unfortunately there's no real answer to drugs. There's enforcement, there's education. I think it's, go back to parenting. We can't blame parents sometimes because the user ends up falling into the bad group. It just can't be helped. But we need to go into those areas and collectively, as a community, address it. And so that road trauma, we have problems at the moment. The demographic, and everybody says, oh, those young people drive badly. Well, let me tell you, Toowoomba's intersection crash rate is not really, can be blamed on the young people anymore. It's probably the worst in Queensland, probably the second or third worst in Australia. That's the crash intersection rate in Toowoomba. In respect to road trauma, road death, it's just an absolute waste. There's no other word to it. They're not. It's caused through the actual driver, 30 and above, not paying attention. Simple as that. When my police go to a crash where there's decent human beings, and by that I mean they're not criminals, they're not drug addicts, they're not people that are the lower end of society, they're just family like sitting here, one of us here, and see that they've, just neglected to take any notice of the stop sign straight out in the path of the semi-trailer, which has happened, 4 or 5 times this year already. You shake your head. It's just a terrible waste of life. But the demographic in the last 3 years, 82% of fatal accidents have involved the driver of the vehicle being over the age of 30 and over. The demographic this year is 40 and over. We've channeled a lot of energy into making sure our kids, our children, our seniors, our adults, semi-adults coming out of grade 12, for want of a better word, have been educated to the max about road safety and danger. So we've got to turn our mind as a community and the police to addressing how we can fix up or how we can educate the 30 plus driver. And it's a bit of a challenge. And without the community support, we're not going to get there on that. With 16 more road deaths this year in Toowoomba alone. Last year for the total year, I think we had 15. We're now up to, no, correct me, I think we had 9. We're now at 26 or 25, heading towards 26 as I speak, I think. So, that's something I think the community can work in partnership with and develop some social trust around the police. Sure, there's traffic police out there that book you. I've been through the speed camera, I've had to pay the fine too. But unfortunately I was speeding. Collectively we all want a safer community, but the bottom line is we've got to get out of our chair and do something about it as community members. And that's police. Police are part of the community. People see us as police, or we're not. We've undertaken a certain career, and that's what it is. We're part of the community. And in Toowoomba, most of you know, I mentioned Cam, Chris, Scott McGrath, they are part of the community. And the majority of police never leave Toowoomba because it's such a good place, which is another indicator of what a great place Toowoomba is. So that's my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. And again, I can't stress enough the values and the assistance that is pumped into this community by the Pure Land Learning College. Outstanding work. I would like to indulge and take some questions if you've got some, and I promise to answer them directly. You may not like the answer you get, but you'll get one. Yeah. No, you're right. I can repeat.
Okay. Years ago when I was in hospital, I was part of the tradition with campers, and it was youth hospice. Have they thought about maybe bringing up
I can hear. The basic question was that years ago the young lady was involved, some short years ago the young lady was at school, and I was involved with Cam Strips in what they call youth crime stoppers, which has been so that community youth meet together to sort out and talk about issues of crime. The aspect of Crime Stoppers is quite alive in the Toowoomba community, and it's run by a number of people. In fact, the ABC presenter is the secretary of Crime Stoppers here, so we've got a good community group there. I don't think in the current environment with the media and the way we communicate socially now with text, Twitter, blog, whatever the rest is, I don't know if youth would accept that. Yeah, no. We have, yeah.
If you had a Facebook page or Twitter page or something run by youth, maybe that might help.
Well, there is plenty of room for youth to Twitter the police now, and we've, in the next few months there will be a Darling Downs police blog coming out, and that will be the medium that I see to contact our youth. Youth don't, this is a thing why we need the community on board, youth don't watch the news. Youth, the way to get to youth is on the devices they carry around when they walk down the street and can't say hello to everybody because they're too wrapped up in this. And I think some of those mediums are socially inept, but that's the way of life, and we've got to adapt to that change because that's my norm at my age. It's certainly not accepted by the youth or young people of society. Phil.
Oh, sorry. Does the police in this region actually work? Sorry, this really.
Right.
Work with the network committees that are part of the NGOs.
They do. From memory, we help as the superintendent or current relieving superintendent in Toowoomba. I hold the position of deputy chair with the regional Safer Toowoomba partnerships. Cam Chris is the treasurer. Scott McGrath's on the panel, and another commission officer responsible for Toowoomba is also on that group. Where the PCY, Police Youth Club Committee, has 4 police members, apart from Cam. Graffiti Busters is another area. We're currently doing a lot of work with through the school-based police officers and numerous other Dr. Cops, so to speak, in delivering the You Choose program to the schools. Actively involved in pantomimes in respect to young people and safety. So yeah, I think we've got a fair linkage in amongst the community. At times it's hard to turn up to everything. Yep.
We had a good. We had a good relationship with the police at that stage. I'm just wondering, because we had to work in networks with other agencies. I was just wondering if you involve yourself, because child safety does as well, involves themselves with those NGOs and everything. So I'm just wondering if the police involve themselves outside of child safety with those NGOs.
Oh. Yeah, we do. I just can't name them all at the moment, but there's collectively a group. I have a view and say there's Mr McDonald from the council that we need to have one central group, and we're trying to make the regional Safer Toowoomba partnerships that central group. We have another number of NGOs on that group as representatives, and we drive the Wilsonton House for the Indigenous painters. That's on there, and I think we've got to have a focal point, and that's where we mix with a lot of NGOs. But Scott McGrath, his job is to mix with them, and he does create a lot of links. As I say, we can create links right across the community, but if we don't all head in one direction, it's a waste of time in my opinion. And I think that's the way we've got to go. We've got to have a peak body somewhere and channel our stuff. Hanif has got a chair at the Toowoomba Safer Partnerships, and I think it's a good conduit because it's an incorporated non-government body, even though it involves councils, police and a lot of non-government agencies. Through that, we'd be able to access funding from government, federal and state government departments. And because we're not, a lot of the riders are, you can't be a government department, so the police can't go and get the money, because we'd like to get the money and spend it on certain social aspects that we identify in the community. But so I see that as a very positive thing. We've managed to get money for the community where other communities and other cities haven't. Yeah.
You say that you're with the
I just wonder what is so difficult for the young people. They can't appreciate what we've got. Why they want to escape from the world into drugs. Just your personal thoughts on it. So I do know drug use in a young person leads on to mental illness. So if we could only get to the beginning of the problem rather than chasing up the drug addicts later on.
Yeah, exactly. I think, it's... The problem is it's down to the individual whether you use drugs or not, and they make that choice. But I think our ability, we haven't really explored our true ability to influence the younger person to say no, or influence their choice. I think there's a lot more we can do in the community as parents, as members of the community in our different professions to discourage the drug taking. And, part of it is, there's 3 E's, there's engineering, education and enforcement. We relate that to traffic. Well, it can be related to anything. And drugs is no different. Drugs is a very wide subject. You've got economics. Economics is deeply embedded in drugs. It's an economic... If drugs wasn't a profitable business, we wouldn't worry about it, would we? But, and unfortunately, you've got an extension of the drugs where drugs are controlled by organised crime groups now, a lot better. And, primarily one of the drivers is, the outlaw motorcycle gangs, there's no doubt about that. So, we've got a lot of problems. My view is that we can assist individually by taking a role in it and making sure that we're influencing people. But then again, on the other hand, the police incarcerate drug dealers. Well, we do. I don't have a problem with that, because at the end of the day, we have to balance up incarcerating, but prosecuting that person, and on the other side of the scale, the good of the community. And we have an obligation, in my view, to prosecute any drug dealers and prosecute all motorcycle gang members. Drugs are the scourge of society, and as I said, we've got to find a balance. Well, that's the economics comes up in that again, because we drive the supply, the price goes higher, which then causes the user who's addicted to commit more offences to get more money. I think that there's 2 ways: drive the supply, but also create an education program going upwards, where it's just been... We need to involve more people in sport, more... Look, children these days, role models are outside the family. In our day, virtually our role models were basically our mother, I think, more so than our father. Mum run the show. But these days, children of this era look for a number of role models, and I think sport is an area where we can, if they can clean up some of the role models in there, it's an area that works. I was talking to a bloke from right up in the Gulf who works for Stanbroke, as a manager for Stanbroke. He's from Normanton, and he loves the town. And he said the Indigenous kids there come ahead in leaps and bounds purely through sport. Purely through rugby league. You don't go to school, you don't play rugby league. And if you've ever been up north and the Cowboys supporters, they're the most rabid supporters you can get in the rugby league circles. They live and breathe up there. And these kids, they've got an attendance rate, I think you said, of over 90%. And he's part of that community. And he's involved in that, but he doesn't have to be. It's his choice. And he's taken a leadership role. And it's improved the Normanton community outside. So I think sport, role models are the way to go in that end. Up the other end, we've got to just prosecute more, and the community's got to help us.
Yeah, I've got a question. I'm wondering why, like to say, you got like hemp, which is a healing property, and marijuana, and they've got healing properties. Why are they illegal when some of them can be used as healings for killing cancer and all those things, and they're made illegal, and some of them are actually very healing because they cure cancers and all types of things like that, but they're make it totally, because it's just based on money, so, yeah.
I don't know. The bottom line is my profession is prosecuting people for possession of illegal drugs, and if it's deemed illegal, you'll get prosecuted. But I don't know. I'm not across the research in respect to the healing values of cannabis. I am across the research that says that the high resin content in cannabis causes psychosis over a period of use. So, you know, I can't give you. I will give you my opinion, but it wouldn't be right. I was here speaking as a police officer. But if there was some sort of proven healing values in some of the illicit drugs, I haven't seen it published completely yet, and it hasn't been accepted by the government. And you've got to remember that we elect the government. I think. Not according to Clive, anyway.
Just a comment.
Yeah, this lady.
Hi, Joe.
How are you?
Good. On hemp, yes, me being borderline vegan, apparently I haven't had it, but apparently it is high in protein, etc. However, as soon as you start burning or messing with anything, it changes the chemicals. So, yeah. But just what I wanted to put to you was, do you feel it is such a bad thing that the role models are going outside the family now? Like, as in the community raising the child, the whole community. From the point of view that in the old days then became very staid cultural, religious, etc. beliefs in each family. Then when they go out into the community, they're taking those out and arguing about them. If we want peace and harmony, maybe going from the community back to the family is the way to do it.
Yeah, I've got no problems with that. My view is that I think I was trying to say is in my generation it was the family unit was insular, and that was where you got your values and you were driven by, and mum was the leader. Now we have to accept that our youth do look wider than mum and dad for role models, and as a community we have to supply them with the appropriate role models. That's what, in a nutshell, that's what I'm saying. And yeah. A wider, exactly, that's what I'm saying. That as individuals, we've got to not be narrow in our view and look after just our own. We have to look after the whole community, and that means being a role model for different things and accepting that maybe that particular minority, although we don't agree with some of their principles, their values are quite good. And and as I said, vice versa, the minority's got to accept the majority in a way too, and have some give. And we can create some exceptional role models in this community if we try. The thing is trying, and that is getting out of the chair. I was going to say something else, but I won't. But yeah, pleasure.
Thinking about role models, I've grown up in a period of time where, with the youth were hanging around the streets when they should be at school or somewhere where they should be at that time, that the police would pick them up by the scruff of the neck and take them home. And this is quite a time ago, but I've been concerned here where there are quite a number of young people who hang around when they should be at school. And I don't know what that situation is, but whether the police have I thought one time the right was taken away from the police where they could pick him up by the collar and take him home. But as someone mentioned about the role of the parents when he does take them home, just an area that I'm now cleaning up or tidying up or giving the youth direction in this way, and how it can be encouraged. And also, I overheard 2 bus drivers at the time of a changeover. This is not a school bus, but an ordinary, one of the regular buses. And they're asking about which route was this other person taking. And they were both hoping, or this other person was hoping it was not the school route. because the behaviour on the bus was absolutely, very shocking, really, where they took no notice of the bus driver, and he had no right to stop the bus and say, get off, because that would create another situation. So I just wondered how you see these problems, whether it would be helpful if the officer occasionally would manifest on one of the school buses. There's a certain area that the bus drivers do not like to travel. I heard them saying that they send a notice to the school and a notice to the parent.
That's right.
However, even if the school responds to their student, there's not necessarily a good response from the parent. So how do you see that situation in helping the youth in the
Well, I don't see it as a police matter straight up. It's a matter that we've got to try and advise the school and advise the parent. I don't think we need a police officer to come in and sort out those issues straight up. I think if it continues and there's an offence committed and we can't resolve it through the school and the parent, we may have to take action then, because we still have a balance for the community to maintain. Kids playing on the buses, yeah, I've heard that too. The problem is that those kids 5 years down the track realise what fools they were, 90% of them, when you talk to them. But, I think that's a social issue. I don't think it's a policing issue. It may have been 40 years ago when we were younger, and the police had that authority in the community, and as I said, were seen as virtually the sole leaders in most communities, country communities in particular. Now, we're not seen that way, and we shouldn't be. We should be seen as part of the leadership of the community. In respect to kids going to school, I think Tim Littleton, some people here would have heard of Tim. He's at Harlexton at the police beat, and he does round up kids from time to time and take them to school. We can't take them home because a lot of times nobody's home, and that's part of the economics of society too today, that both parents have to work. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Truancy. But we prefer not to go right down that angle if we can help it, because it's a social issue. It's not a crime. It's not an antisocial. It's not a drug. It's not a road trauma issue. It's a social issue. And that's a perfect example where everybody can work together on it. And I know Tim Littleton in the Harlexton area does a lot of work with the young kids and getting them to school and that. But the bus issue, I think it's got to be resolved between the parents and the school.
Changing the subject to the other side of life.
Yep.
I just got thinking, I've had a driver's license for 61 years now.
You're lucky.
I've had one accident, minor one.
You're very lucky.
I made up my mind when I have the next one, I'm quitting.
Good idea.
But one of the things I notice with people my age is denial. I get into the car every day and I say, you are old. Your reflexes are slower, your eyesight is not as good, and you better be careful. And I think one of the problems that we have is we get older, we forget to look in the mirror, and we're not careful. And I've got to be.
I try not to.
And that's why I have a beard. But this, I think, is really important. I found a lot of people in my generation, older people, we just aren't facing the fact. Secondly, I think the new cars. I had a 34 Ford pickup. That was the first car I had. And when you were going 50 miles in that car, you knew you were going 50 miles an hour. Now, I'll sit down and I'll ride along with a mate of mine or something. I said, you're doing 120K in this thing? Oh! And, you don't realize. And I think probably two things that we've got to learn that we're not as safe as we used to be, if we ever were. And then secondly, I think we've got to see something about the cars, that it can keep telling us we're going too fast some way.
Oh yeah, the cars are a bit safer these days probably, with the airbags. See Mr. Swan down there, I'm sure he's still got a driver's licence too, he's only young. But look, the thing about the cars and the elderly, and I'm heading that way, we're all heading that way, and a lot of us today, being 60, 70 or 80 is not considered old, because we've got a great... Sit around the farm. Because of our health and the way we look after ourselves compared to what our parents had to do and the diet they had, the working conditions they lived in, we might be a bit softer, I suggest, but we certainly get a bit more longevity. Taking a vehicle off an elderly person is really a hard thing because you're taking away their independence. That's the bottom line. And that's the hardest thing for people that have been of good health and have been able to, their mobility, the independent mobility is taken away. And I think there's a program there, but it's not for police, that we could get going where we take away the stigma or the psychological impact on a person who can't drive anymore. That doesn't mean they're not decent people and doesn't mean they're not healthy, it's just they haven't got the ability to control a lethal machine, so to speak. Yeah.
Hi. Oh, someone else? Oh, okay, cool. Down here.
Yeah.
Hi. My name is Alex. I'll be talking later, so I'll make it quick. You'll probably be sick of me by the end of the day. So. Anyway, my name is Alex. I'll be talking later.
Oh, right.
I'll make it quick because you'll be sick of me by the end of the day. So, just before what you said about young people walking down the streets with their phone, not talking to anyone else, I don't do that. So, but to target,
I'll have to give you a gold star.
Yeah. To target the youth, you've got to target what they do, and like you said, that's really important to form a blog, but blog's kind of 2005, so use Facebook and Twitter. Yeah.
I'm glad I get the iPad going, so I was trying to be technically smart till you showed me up.
It was a good try, you know. When I was in grade 7, it would have flown, so good effort, sorry. But what Queensland Police Service do with their Facebook group is amazing because they form a joke with, you know, warning people like, oh, there's 7 little ducks on the street, quack, 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 or they make a joke about it, and some of my friends have actually shared these posts, you know. Who would ever thought actually sharing posts from the Queensland Police, looking at them, you know, I would have never thought of it, it's just the police, but they're hilarious. And I think that's the way to target youth, especially me. If I find something funny, I'll share it, you know, and that's the way I think that this area should target it as well. And if you do that and you make it humorous and you make it attractive to young people to look at, I think that'll be the way to target it. Because if we're on our phones and we see a warning, oh, drive safe, whatever, we'll do it because it's in a manner that we appreciate and we see all the time. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's getting outside the norm that what we're usually used to, and getting outside the norm. Yep. Yep. I think I've run out of time. I must say. Is that right?
Joe, that's just been fantastic. Everyone, please join me in thanking Joe. I think I speak for all of us. We're all in awe of the work of the Queensland Police, and it's just been fantastic to hear today some of the things that they do. And really, thank you for answering all those questions too. That's been terrific. We are going to break for morning tea now until 10:45. So please enjoy your refreshments, and we'll see you back here in about half an hour, just under. Thank you.